It looks like it is about time to kick off for MarineLorD versus Louie. Game number 1, and it's going to be an Deli matchup to kick us off.
All right, I really like this matchup. It has some very cool and interesting facets to it because you're getting the Desert Raiders out, so you got an immediate counter against the Ghazi Raiders. But then again, you don't want to have them out for too long because Deli, they do like to make their archers. Archers are very good for them, and archers, they do big hurt against the Desert Raiders. I think Ayupit is probably one of the best civilizations in this matchup to go fast castle age and pump out ghouls, because really ghouls just shred everything that lacks melee armor. Nothing that Deli has in the feudal age has melee armor. Now you could argue Ghazi Raiders, they do bonus damage against armored units. Still, the ghouls, they can just absolutely shred in those situations.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Ayabids in this matchup, I think based on the ladder, they were doing really bad, right? I think it's maybe 40-45% win rate. And I think that's been pretty firm since the expansion. I think it's due to the greed, right? When you play them, we can talk about the Desert Raiders being quite nice in the opening, but then the Ghazi get the bonus damage against you. And the thing that the Deli love is being up against a Civ that won't play the game their way, because it means you get those sacred sites for free, and you get all these options that the Ayabids don't have yet.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool how the Deli are one of the civilizations that can somewhat force their game plan onto their opponent. There are a lot of civilizations that kind of have to react to what their opponents do sometimes in a lot of different matchups. Deli is one where in most matchups, they force their opponent to react to their own game plan.
Yeah. And it's in theory, Ayabids can be nice on the opening there, because you'd think the Desert Raider forces you to go archers first, but we've highlighted it time and time again. The range tag does exist on the Desert Raiders. Turns out they're not as strong as you would think there. They do end up getting brutalized. 2 Ghazi can actually be a Desert Raider. And the problem with that is the timings, right? When Deli get their age up, they garrison a Scholar inside with efficiency. They get 2 Ghazi. I think that is the thing that makes Deli kind of king when it comes to tempo, is that they are able to be much more efficient about their transitions.
Yeah, it works really, really well for them. Both these civilizations also being able to gather very effectively from the sheep. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
MarineLorD, he's opening up with Growth Wing.
Oh,
okay.
wait. Okay, after he gave a free pass to Vortex's brutality, is he gonna do it? I feel like that 140 might be stretching it a bit. He might end up with these berries.
I'll tell you, once I spectated a game from MarineLorD where he got one down to 10.
My boy.
And he had the presence of mind to pull all the villagers at the correct point in time. He really pays attention to those kind of things, which is why I think that MarineLorD, a lot of players, they kind of don't sweat those details sometimes. Even at the top league, at the top players, we saw it from Vortex earlier, for example. But it's not just
we saw quite a few things from Vortex earlier on.
Yeah, but still, in general, there's a lot of players that don't sweat those details a lot of time. Granted, the Spanish players, I think, are repeat offenders to that, especially when it comes to HRE, when they place Archon Chapel and they see to fit. They challenge themselves time and time again. How many non-farm buildings can I place around my Archon Chapel without castles literally going insane? But it's still so important to kind of min-max those kind of things as well. Base building in general, I think, is really important as well. And I think the berries kind of play a part there as well.
Here we go. We're getting tight. All we care about now is the berries, right?
Okay, let's just look at the berries.
Yeah.
We just gotta look at the berries. Look at the berries.
He's gonna have to pull the villagers. Pull the villagers. MLord.
I'm telling you, he's gonna do it.
When we say it's much faster for Ayabids, it doesn't really look that fast when you just watch it like this. Oh.
He's just playing with us. He's just playing with us at this point in time.
It's actually very important, because the reason why it's important to actually gather those berries down as much as you can, it's more optimal early on, right? You don't have wheelbarrow yet. So if you can make them last to the very last second, what is especially important about that is it allows you to start your feudal age tech up about, I'd say, 5 to 10 seconds sooner, which doesn't sound like a lot, but against a tempo civ like the Deli, it can be the world of difference.
Yeah. And also, just having more food available to you in so many situations, it just helps you so much. So having those 3 additional berry bushes, that's an additional 150 food. That's almost a sheep worth of food that you're getting there. Fast gathered food as well.
An opening is going to be straight into the stables and archery range. So yeah, I think what we're going to see here, you kind of want to go fast castle, but you know you have to do something. What we might be seeing here is what I like to call the discount bastard build, which is if you were to do this in a regular game when someone expected it, it's always worse, right? Because like there's no way you can argue a bastard is better than Ibids is better than a bastard in fuel, right? But it's the ambush potential in the opening 2 minutes that's really impactful for the Ibids.
Mhm. Also interesting. So it's gonna be Horseman and Desert Raider for MarineLorD. So not only is he gonna get his own Horseman out, but he's also gonna be getting the immediate counter to his opponent's Horseman. I really like this a lot. So
Wait, but what the duck is Louie doing? He hasn't built a single unit yet.
I think it's probably, yeah, he went for the blacksmith first before
Okay.
he made a production building. So he gets the blacksmith upgrade first in queue. And now it's just going to be production buildings and MarineLorD. I really like this play. I've seen it time and time again recently with the Ayubits. Because of those 3 additional villagers, their tempo in the game, like even though they start making military units, their tempo to then subsequently get a lot of units out, but then still be able to get a really good castle age timing in, is absolutely off the charts.
Oh, it's disgusting. Because at the stage of the game where you're getting 3 extra villages, it might not sound like a lot, but when you get it, that's 15% more villages. Which is bonkers to think about.
Think about it like this. In theory, you're getting roughly like 100 resources per minute out of those 3 villagers. That's better than a Manzikori. That's better than the Nerf Meditation Garden.
Yep. And then on top of that, in this particular matchup, you've also got the Growth Wing adding in an extra 300 food on your safe resources, right? So it means Louie's likely to expire quicker on that resource while having, less villages, right? So you can just flex more into woodlines, you can go into more archers. I'm already seeing quite a few archers coming out. He's read this perfectly. Louie did go for the stable racks opener. He's slow to get those archers pumping, and that's critical because if they've been mirrored on their timing, then actually that's where the Deli would have an advantage due to that double production.
Yeah. Something else, like going for a longer feudal age with their Ubits just allows them to get that timing with the second golden age, and then once they hit castle age, they'll immediately have that tier 2 golden age to be getting that plus 50% faster research speed in. That
Which
just
is
gives
insane.
them even more tempo then, yeah.
It's such a strong timing, right? Because like we talked about earlier, instead of taking a minute, it takes 40 seconds. And if you think about how many attacks can be made by a Deli army of a size of 40 or 50 in 20 seconds, it's actually quite a lot. So definitely a powerful element. The other thing is like it gets you creeping ever closer to the stage where you can just actually have a big enough economy to flood dervishes while maintaining the army, right? Like it's kind of wild just how powerful the first 10 to 12 minutes of play is for the Ibids, regardless of whether they go Growth Wing or Desert Raider.
Yeah. When you're in a position where you're waiting for upgrades to come in, once you hit castle age, like 20 seconds is a lot. Like 20 seconds can feel like an eternity there.
Dude, I love that he added in Desert Raiders so much. We just never really see that. But when you consider the Ghazi, they're like, I don't want to, it's going to sound weird saying because discount knights are Keshiks, but they are kind of a discount knight if you think about it, right? Like they're better than horsemen. You don't just call them horsemen. They are their own unit with more health, more damage. They do cost more. So the effective counter value you're getting out of building into Desert Raiders is naturally higher compared to if this was just horsemen.
I'll say it right now. I wish Ghazi stats were the default for horsemen.
What?
For all civilizations. I truly mean it. I think horsemen and feudal age are just way too clunky and underwhelming in many situations.
I think that's part of it though. Like to me, that unit, you have more flexibility than any other unit type. Speaking of the units,
What
they
do
are
you
now
think
fine.
is more realistic, them fixing parting or them just adjusting the stats of the unit?
No comment. All right, I've already been salty enough about catch rage for the day. We don't need to go deeper into this. Right now, this fight looks fixed. There'll always be a doom stack for Louie, though. He's losing out.
Yeah, that's really bad. Like, Ayubits winning against Deli here with, like, the early engagements, that's setting Ayubits up for, like, a perfect timing for, or transition, rather, into Castle Age. And the Scholar goes down, too. Louie is only on 1 Scholar now.
I legit think you play, like, 3 more minutes of Feudal. I don't think you even rush Castle here, right? Like, you actually have a momentum lead.
You can, but you don't need to, yeah.
I mean, what, we're now 9.5 minutes in, and I don't see any move for a Sacred Site happening. I now see Louie. Guys, don't you dare yell Union, okay? Go back to work. Like, you can't afford these type of weird little idle moments in a game in this state, right? Like with the Growth Wing being what it is, and the fact that you just lost a fight like that. It sounds like a nitpicky difference, but it matters a lot considering like the reason why Deli is so dominant in competitive is because they've almost perfected their first 20 minutes of gameplay strat, right? Like that is where you see so many people fall flat.
Oh, it looks like MarineLorD did actually want to go for that cast stage transition now. He wanted to get that outpost up. Gets enough stone for placement on as well.
Army's close by though.
Yeah, Louie, he's not going to be able to really deny that now with just a couple of Ghazi Raiders. We gotta highlight, like, the Ghazi Raiders, that's like one of their big trade-offs, right? So they lose out on attack speed, but that's why they get like a big chunk of bonus attack damage. Getting minus 20% of that with the Camel on Ease makes a huge difference. Actually puts them like at a disadvantage against normal horsemen there when it comes to DPS throughput.
Yeah, and the problem in this matchup is, like, if this was a matchup where you were kind of kiting more, actually the Ghazi lower attack speed doesn't matter, right? Because, like, look at the chase here. You wallop, you chase, you're going to wallop again. The attack speed doesn't matter. But whenever you're going to get to a station fight where you both just turn and burn, these camels have very quick attack speed, and all of a sudden that attack difference actually does kick you in the teeth.
Yeah.
This is... I wonder if MarineLorD could have actually, like... I mean, don't get me wrong, I still think he's ahead by going Castle Age here, but I don't think there was necessarily any harm by playing like an extra 2 minutes. Wait, really? Yeah. Okay, wow. So he feels threatened. So if you get in MarineLorD's head right now, like he's seeing the Ghazi numbers go up, he knows he can't scale Desert Rays right now as a counter. He needs Camel Lancers. And also, remember that the food stack at home is depleting fast. So if he doesn't thread the needle here, he'll complete a tech up and have no food.
Oh man, the Camel on the East, the Ghazi Rays, they just don't do nearly as much damage as they used to.
Still no undermesh either.
Like, yeah, this is not a fight that Louie can take. Yeah, no undermesh, you're right.
He prioritized Steeled Arrow first, which was really surprising. It made sense before the first fight, but then by the second fight, like, you can see how it hurt him towards the tail end of the main engagement, and now in that one as well. It means that MarineLorD literally has, like, no frontline if you think about it, but he's getting away with it due to that combo of Camel on Ease and how quickly just this small, thin line of Ghazi do flop. So,
and MarineLorD, he's spamming houses. Like, he's spamming buildings. He's gonna be aging up with Golden Age Tier 2.
Oh, wow. Okay, for a second, I was like, wait, did he go Growth Wing? No, he's already done that. Okay, so yeah, no, he's just doing it for the Golden Age, so he's going to have that quick unlock. Also, another big deal here is Steeled Arrow level 2, right? I think with the amount of gold he's got, you're going to see him rush both the Archer upgrade as well as the range damage increase.
Yeah. No doubt about that. Up to 30 Archers now in. Louie, he's trying to go for some walls. It feels really bad. Now, this is a second Sacred Site, but Louie, he's been... the second Sacred Site that Louie's getting at this point in time, like 12 minutes into the game.
You know, I think you're accurate there, by the way. Like, you know, we call them Sacred Sites, but let's be honest, we all think the Deli are the devil in this game. So we'll see if he can spawn his Satan soon. The problem is, by the time he's moving for the third Sacred Site, he's not going to be able to wall in this area. Sultan's Mamelukes plus archery range upgrades are going to be in. So this is a very difficult fight, and this is what I don't like to see, is like Louie is now looking to tech up with 2 Scholars. You're not going to have this army upgraded in time.
Definitely not. It's very cool, though, that he's going for, like, these aggressive walls, because MarineLorD, he could have just, like, no issue, like, postured around a little bit, like,
he could have
closer to Louie's base.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
he might still be able to... Okay, it looks like it's going to go up just in time here, so that's critical. He's going to keep him away.
He's not sacrificing all the archers. He's running.
I mean, you can burn this down. Like, he's not even going to complete the wall to the north side, so tech up is at least going to complete, sure, but you haven't actually contained your opponent. There is going to be a Ghazi raid on the backside of this, but a trickle of troops can easily shut that down.
Yeah. Outpost there with team placement as well. And now MarineLorD, he's going to be free to rush through, but... I mean, this army, all in all, it's not that scary yet for Louie once he reaches age up. He's got enough resource in the bank to get like 2, 3, maybe even 4 knights out immediately with efficient production. Yeah, but the Camel Lancers, they're only really good for the Camel Unease. Other than that, I don't think they actually provide
that's what I mean, though, right? Like, the Unease with this many archers is what scares me. I kind of want to say Siege
The main issue is the +2 Pierce Armor, right? Like, that's completely lacking with Sultans, not Sultans, but like the Mameluke buff as well. Those archers can do a lot of damage. Yeah.
Ghazi are at least lining up the food, so that's pretty nice. I think he's found good value out of this. Like, the scary thing for me, I always feel like when you're in a game, if you don't have like 60 eco, but you've gone Compounded Defender, it kind of feels like a dead landmark, right? Like, you never really see people go onto stone until they've got well over 60 villages, because otherwise you just don't have an ability to build an army as well.
Yeah, I mean, Louie, he has a lot of golden banks. I wouldn't mind him just pulling some of his gold villagers onto stone. The issue is that the stone is forward on his side, and now a
Yep.
fight is getting forced at a point in time where Louie just doesn't have what it takes in order to hold this. The archers can just step back and...
He has what, one Lancer? One Lancer could just insta-die. Like, look how quickly he melts here. Camel Lancer's now in, and I think that looks like that might be a GG state. Louie, 5 villagers behind. Military is either going to get shored up. And Relics are at least being dragged back by both players, but the problem is you now have nothing to defend your base with.
The distraction ball low comes in, but the archers of his, they've been also focusing on the Camel Lancer, and his Lancer just gets taken down so quickly. Rest of the army is getting cleaned up as well, and now it's 8 military compared to 50. And Louie just doesn't have anything left in the tank in order to fight this. He's now MarineLorD, he's on the production buildings. Anything that comes out now is just gonna instantly get sniped.
Yeah, and he's starting to realize where his opponent is on the pocket ecos, so he'll be sending the additional Lancers over there. He's got a little bit of food gap right now, but the Archers, basically this amount, you can snipe anything that comes out, especially with the Sultan's Mamelukes effect. Just giving that sweet 25% increased damage. GG. There it is. Game 1. MarineLorD, a methodical execution to overcome the Iobid threat.
Yeah, Deli just not quite there where it needed to be. It was really awkward already for Louie after that first engagement. Like, losing that early on as a Deli, even though you do have that efficient production, it just feels really bad. And MarineLorD, he didn't even go for the reinforcement wing there.
Yeah. Wait, did I say overcome the Iobid threat? Overcome the Deli threat, my brain. So the thing that I'm thinking back to that was quite interesting, I think the pivot point in this game was when MarineLorD chose to go for active Desert Raider production. Because I'm pretty sure what we saw there, like if I'm not mistaken, the scout did see that it was a growth wing, right? And like if you see a growth wing and you're Louie, you're like, okay, well this is great. Like I'm not up against camels at all. I'm very unlocked. Then to arrive in that first fight, like the value of that type of ambush element, you highlighted it. The Ghazi have much higher base damage, and ergo, because they cost more, you have less of them compared to horsemen. So it kind of just hits you harder, makes it harder to overflow, and it makes it harder to overwhelm the front line. So great read there by MarineLorD, and I agree from that stage on, essentially just in the driving seat. I mean, you can see the effect as these graphs just ramped up. A pretty strong beginning, and a pretty important one. We highlight this already, like with what had happened in the previous series. Louie, in an awkward situation where he can't actually get top spot in the groups. But now it kind of gets more awkward still because Puppy Paw has got one additional win in series, right? If Louie loses this one, he's going to go from second at the start of the day, which is a top 6 placement, to having to fight it out from day 1 of the playoffs.
I want to highlight the matchup that we've got going on here now. It's going to be the Byzantines for MarineLorD versus Louie's Chinese. And I'm just going to quote MarineLorD from literally 15 minutes ago. What do you mean I am the Byzantine goat?
I'm thinking more about this matchup, and I'm just like, not only is MarineLorD looking very clean, I actually do think that China gets quite hard countered by Byzantines. Like, the more and more we've been seeing it. We've been seeing a lot on Coastal Cliffs, right? And I think, like, on Coastal Cliffs, like, I always just call Coastal Cliffs a mini Dry Arabia. Some matchups change between Dry Arabia and Coastal Cliffs, like, for example, French Deli. But I think this type of matchup, where you're really slow with your army and the way you move, fundamentally
I think it still changes because of the stone. Right? I think it mainly changes because of the stone, right? On Coastal Cliffs, you don't have the stone access for the second TC. Here, the Chinese can go for that second TC and just scale the economy much, much better.
You can still pin them in though, right? Like I'm thinking, like describe them earlier as a discount English. It's that same effect, but like obviously with the Byzantines, because of the way you were able to gather in a stone, there aren't many civs that would look and say, I will also build a second TC and feel good about it. But I feel like Byzantines is up there, right? Between the system buff effect and also the olive oil they gather alongside it all.
Yeah. I'm going to take a gamble here, though, and I'm going to go all in on Louie, mainly because Louie literally just came out of a set where he lost this matchup on Coastal Cliffs.
You say you're coming in all in. I'm watching the channel points right now. I feel like you should have more than 80,000 points. So money where mouth is, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna. In my defense, I also went all in on Vortex playing Deli versus MarineLorD the other day, and
are you a little bit broke right now? Do you need a loan?
I'm just gonna say he shouldn't have lost that one. He lost like 12 villagers to invisible horsemen there. That was not on me. That was not on me.
All right, you know what would give you more points to be able to actually bet is if you're a sub to the channel. So remember to do that, folks. If you want to actually be able to gamble the big points, you need to make sure you subscribe because you do get, I think it's double points or triple points in some cases compared to non-subscribed. What can I say? We're paid to win with the points that literally do nothing, but subscribe. Move in. Let's go. Game number 2. Byzantines in the hands of MarineLorD. Louie whipping out the Chinese. This matchup we've been seeing a lot of, and so far Byzantines have been looking dominant. But Crackedy, I don't know if it's hopium for your Chinese, but you seem to believe in the power of Louie here.
I do. At the same time, Louie, once again, opening up with his non-starter Imperial Official build. So he's going to go the same route there again. One thing that I don't like, though, from him is look at his berry position. Even with the berries in the back, he still chose to put the mill next to the TC.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, it's very weird. It's almost just like it's instinctual, right? Because, like, there are some situations where it made sense to us.
It's not even right next to TC, so if it was out of fear of longbows, then longbows could still snipe that. Yeah.
Like, because you could drop the Imperial Academy right next to the TC there and buff the gold, wood, and the berries, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you could get everything in range, just about.
Oh, no, he can't. There's an additional tile between the mill and TC, so he can't actually
what
get
if you
all in
drop
range.
the mill on the northeast side of the first berries, right? So, like, a little bit looser. Maybe?
No. Should still not work. Because he can't fit the Imperial Academy between the wood line and TC. There's only 3 tiles there of distance between, so...
Okay, so we might still see what Imperial Academy now north side, though, because that's going to be on the stone, wood, and gold, and then he'll have that mill in range. So for that type of optimization, you can understand why he does this. MarineLorD on the other side, looking at his spawn, 2 berry patches quite close together, west side of his base is quite nice, considering that typically in this matchup, outside of a Barbican rush, it's the Byzantines that sent the pace in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, you get the early limit now. You can do a lot of damage with those. Now, China, they don't get those early palace guards like the Zhuji gets, so you don't really like even want to play that aggressive early on as a Chinese. Your like main really push unit, the Zhugedu, is locked behind Song Dynasty as well. I don't want to see Louie going for horsemen early on here again. Once again, I stand by by my point. I think horsemen are probably worst unit in the game right now in feudal age.
You're really going.
I don't want to see him.
Are we going to war on this? I like horsemen for the raid potential. Like if you're against pocketed eco civs, I think it'd be good. But like these civs, yes. In this matchup, I don't see great value in horsemen. Maybe as a support element, but definitely not as the backbone.
Yeah, I could see horsemen here just to be able to, like, if MarineLorD goes on to additional berries after the first one, then I could see horsemen be a play here. But more often than not recently, have I actually been seeing Byzantines just completely forgo any external food sources and just immediately going for that olive grove transition next to the Grand Winery, just because the extra additional olive oil that you're getting out, it's such a nice transition, and the farms also cost a lot less. So instead of 75, you're only paying 60 resource for every single farm, and not just that, but you're also getting stone back.
Which is interesting, right? Because compared to, say, the English that usually does those farms, English pays 37, you pay the 60, but the difference that makes it worthwhile is obviously you have the system to get a similar gathering buff, and you don't necessarily have to add in mills like the English do, so that makes more savings there. And on top of that, you're getting 20%, actually, like it's more like 30% with those olive groves in range of the Grand Winery, right? As an additional resource. So like that's what makes it more justifiable despite the increased cost compared to the English.
All right, MarineLorD. Yeah, 4 villagers on stone. This isn't going to be the fastest second TC, but it should still be coming in at a pretty decent timing here. I'm going to guess like 4 minutes 50, maybe.
Yeah, there's a much cleaner time. I think it was Dimmu who discovered the build, right? The one where you can basically have your TC being built at 5 minutes, like in and complete. Where you use all the straggler trees, you go on the stone straight away, and then you tech up like that. I feel like it's changed since the System like buffs, right? Where System getting level 2 feels a little bit more desirable for that TC. But this like is only a level 1 System, so kind of intriguing the way he approached this. Wheelbarrow also has been researched at a point where it will not be complete before you have to make this move.
Fastest I've ever gotten it was like 430, 431.
Yeah, you can be very aggressive. Like, I'm wondering if he was worried about maybe some sort of cheesy Barbican play, right? Like, that always has to be in your mind when you're against the Chinese. Not so cheesy here, but yeah, it's lame. Could you imagine not rushing your opponent's base with a Barbican Crackedy?
Ever, but at the same time, like I'm looking at Louie. He wanted to put down a mining camp on his stone, then suddenly went against it, so he's not dropping it immediately. Maybe just he was selecting the never mind. He was just selecting the wood from it.
Okay, yeah. And then I think the timing as well and getting the additional taxman doesn't add up, right? Because he's now short 1 Imperial official for the stone. So maybe just like he had good enough for the wood, but not for the second as well. TC is going to be used to secure additional berries. Not really anything else that would have been more desirable. I think this makes a lot of sense, right? It also kind of connects you to the other side of the map, so you
He's
kind
also
of lock
getting
in.
wheelbarrow in. Yeah. Also getting wheelbarrow, so that does kind of excuse the timing difference from the usual 2TC build. And now his stone. Yeah, Louis also getting his second TC. I'm wondering right now what the timing is going to be. The main issue that I have with this kind of Chinese build that we see now from Louis, where he's getting the Imperial officials out a bit later, is that usually you can be Song Dynasty with Chinese by like 5 minutes 10. This was like 5 minutes 50. I'm not sure if it's worth it then to like build that first Imperial official like later through the Imperial Academy. It's very difficult. I'm not sure anybody has really gotten into the nitty-gritty there yet.
I feel like my initial instinct on what we've seen of it is it makes more sense, say, for like a fast castle build or an aggro build. I think the greed build, getting that IO early, seems to feel a little bit better, a little bit more value. Because the timing's on the TC, right? The song unlock. But
yeah, you're also getting a lot more value out of those first initial sheep.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy, actually. Like, there must be some thought process Louis come up with. I think maybe it's the idea of having that flexibility to do those different builds we just highlighted. Whereas, like, I feel like when you're going for the IO opening, you always feel bad if you're kidding me, dude.
He's blocking the TC spot.
There we go. That is a win right there.
Just cancel. Build on the other side. Like,
no, okay,
you can't even get you can't even get it with the mill in order to like supervise. It's still bad.
Well, I mean, you could come and drop a mill afterwards, right? After the first 2 tiers, but I was thinking it can still be decent. Because, like, that's always the downside when you do a TC like this. I think it's why Dumu might be the clearest example of this. He always goes condensed TCs, right? And I always say it's, like, bad for initial games because you drain the initial games quicker. But it's definitely better for the Imperial Official optimization.
Yeah, like having the, like, your tax drop-off points spread out more.
Ah.
Yeah. All right, okay. Now I'm not as unhappy about it anymore. Yeah,
and the outpost is clearly, he's like, don't you dare come in and push these dead deer away. Wait a second. It's for the longbows on the way.
I mean, the longbows are still, like, longbows are disgusting, right? The range, they can still do their thing. But we're also seeing horsemen come. I don't like this. I don't like horsemen here from the Chinese in this situation. Like, you want to use the food for something else here at this point in time. Horsemen are so food heavy.
You could be building more TCs and more villages, Louis.
Like 1 or 2, maybe, just to like harass MarineLorD on the golds a little bit.
You can cut reinforcements.
But you're never. Right? Cut off reinforcements is also difficult because the longbows always come in groups of 5.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's like they have higher base damage compared to standard archers, so it's not a tickling, it's actually a kicking. So like maybe if he goes up to 4 horsemen, that then makes sense. Because then MarineLorD can't just send across the groups of 5. They will die. But yeah, it's like, it's such a gambly role here. There's no way you're doing this to try and attack your opponent, right? You just scout their base and you see how kind of congested they are. I'm sure there's a small gap between the 2 TCs, but the opportunities are pretty small.
Horseman, look at how much damage he does.
Woo!
So good.
I've almost killed a village. Okay. But next time...
there's going to be a limit.
Next time, he's going to send out a full HP villager, and we'll do this again. This is like, you know, watching Horsemen do that, it's like the villain that's superpower is to give you degenerative, like, bone disease. And he's like, in 50 years, your legs will just break. It's like,
sure, yes. This won't step you now. Yeah.
but later.
Oh, man. Those guys are actually the hidden geniuses, man. Down the line, they're going to be winning.
Could you imagine? It's like, I am stomach acid man. Oh no, you spray acid on us that melts us? No! Your gastric system will devolve at a rate 50% quicker than most people. Okay? And
I
that, ladies and
give
gentlemen, is
people acid reflux. We're getting a castle age timing now in. Poor Louie.
which is appropriate because now he's going to vomit out Palace Guard. There you go.
Yeah. Palace Guards definitely makes a lot of sense. The issue with Palace Guards, though, they do less... They have less pierce armor. Less pierce armor, and especially against the Longbowmen, which do get +1 damage in there. It's not a unit with which you can like use the timing to immediately overwhelm. He's also getting in some lances as well, which is nice. I like that play. This is what I think Ayubits should do more often, like combining the barracks heavily armored units and the stable heavily armored units.
It gives you the flexi, right? Because like, similar to the Horseman logic is like, but it's easier with Lancers, is now you have a unit that can raid, and when you come to the main fight, it's a very good meat shield as well. It seems weird to do against Limitane, but like, let's be totally real. MarineLorD doesn't want to have to Benny Hills. He wants to try and attack, because the longer you sit back, the bigger that Song Dynasty eco lead gets.
Wall of Attempt now coming in for MarineLorD, only with a single villager though. And MarineLorD, he is getting up a significant amount of units here. Might actually be getting close to the amount that he needs in order to start harassing that TC.
Has got Undermesh on the way, so he's looking at that dive point. Yep, there you go. But he gave them stomach acid. That's all that's important. All right, Golden Horn Tower now on the way.
Outpost with emplacement. Villagers starting to hop inside. Palace Guards out there to defend. There is +1 damage. Pierce damage out for the combos. MarineLorD.
Yeah, he's got +2 though, so he's made these normie archers, and these are pretty chunky Palace Guards. So Outpost might go down, but the villagers should be quick to shift away. And these Limitane, they might have range reduction, but they don't get anything against this much melee damage.
Yeah, and the Palace Guards doing a great job here against them now. Knights also out there to catch up some of the reinforcements. 2 Lombos did go down in that batch of 5. The Knight needs to be careful though. The Lancer is likely going to lose his life there. Yep.
Yeah, so that was meant to be the equivalent of like, you know, striking someone with lightning as a villain power, but that was actually more comparative to giving them stomach acid reflex and diarrhea. The Lancer charges are meant to be finding the backside, so I'm wondering if like Louie got distracted there, because chasing down the archers does sound nice, right? But when you look at the way that MarineLorD spread his eco, you can do a lot more damage to this Lancer just running around the base.
Thinking about those minor inconveniences that you can curse your opponent with. What about the permanent wet sleeves whenever you wash your hands?
Is that now a superpower? What unit does that? Is that someone attacking villages with scouts?
Oh, I think those are Clock Tower SLPs versus normal Springles. It just feels so bad.
I'm not going to get you to talk about Nesta Bees within there. We might in this game, actually, now that I think about it. Whoa, okay. We've got the discount Wall of China coming in. Louie does love his walls. I see him do it a lot in these type of games. And funnily enough, MarineLorD, because he's dancing around his own base, he's not going to be there to stop him.
Yeah. Louie so far managed to pick off... Wait, did he manage to kill a villager? He hasn't managed to kill a villager yet.
No, somehow...
It was Horseman, right? So it's
But in
expected.
20 years, they're going to die, Crackedy, all right?
In 20 years, the wet sleeves are going to catch up with them.
You know when like sometimes you're casting and you like watch someone raid with horsemen and they almost kill like 10 villagers, and then you justify it yourself. You're like, but eventually he'll get those guys, right? Like they've been given a warning down the line. We all know what we're really saying as casters. They're never going to die. We just didn't want to spit on the horsemen.
The Lombos now with the veterancy and the +2 pierce damage. They do a lot of damage against these Palace Guards. Like the Palace Guards say,
oh, yeah.
This is really like the one unit where it just feels unfortunate to be Chinese up against, like making those Palace Guards and just like, these are my men-at-arms. They got pierce armor, and the opponent's just like, yeah, we got Longbowmen. Pew pew.
And then on top of that, it's like, well, now I'm impervious to arrows. Wait, what's that guy with the giant longsword doing, right? Because that's what we get to eventually in this build. We've seen that that's kind of the GG point for most Chinese players, is that they cannot rely on Palace Guard when the Germans come in.
Yeah, and now MarineLorD behind all of this. Also, he is starting to get the relics in with the bonus olive oil that he'll be getting. He's on the Golden Horn Tower as well. It's actually a little bit interesting to me. I'm not sure if Louie had some idle time in his villager production, but only being with the villagers that he lost like 15 villagers ahead on 2 TC with Song Dynasty, it feels like it's not as much as it should be.
No, did he build 4 taxmen as well? I just hope so. I'd be surprised if he didn't. Like,
Yeah,
'cause
he
that
should
might be a
have.
deceptive thing. Because obviously they count as eco units now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he does. Yeah. Definitely feels like he's missed something here.
Hmm. 3 more villagers that go down there as well. LoueMT, they're doing such a great job here against these palace guards. We're now also seeing some Nest of Bees coming out. First Nest of Bee is there. Louie doing a good job with just distracting like a bunch of the army here from MarineLorD as well, keeping them back in his base.
Can we?
But even then, with all the map control, okay, he is starting to get in the 2nd relic now. He needs a 3rd relic. Like, if he gets 3 relics in, that's when, like, China doesn't feel that bad at outpost spam coming out here. He's denying the resources there.
Yeah, and he can't turn around to attack this now because the
he's
palace
rushing
guard
it.
are here.
He's rushing it for Akratoid. He gets Akratoid. Oh, but it's bad. The Akratoid, you don't get the torches anymore. Okay, he's still dead.
I like how it just doesn't matter. Imagine just walking up to a building made of firm wood with a spear, and somehow, I mean, these guys, dude, they must work farm day and night. They got biceps on them. They got biceps on their biceps to break down a town that quickly. More outposts are on the way up from Louie. Can we check the deer stacks south, or rather east of Louie's
Oh, look
base?
at that.
Yeah! So, like, you know what? That makes sense. China, we always talk about how they get 20% more resources from nowhere. Clearly, they skimped on the foundations of that building.
Oh, and it was just reinforced
Wait,
as well.
what?
Oh.
What are those spears made of?
It's the Bronze Age for the Byzantines, man.
I think King Leonidas is about to turn up on this field. Good God. So,
I mean, Louie, I'm not sure what's going on right now. He's not investing as much into military as you would think. It's only 12 palace guards at this point in time out in the field. He did invest a lot into these outposts out on the map, which is going to be great for him down the line. Oh, also this outpost here with the sprinkler placement. That's really nice. Like getting this passive extended map control with these outposts. I think that's a great play. I've seen this from certain time and time again where he just builds outposts all over the place, gets them reinforced with the sprinkler placement. It's going to be really, really hard for MarineLorD to like go out without siege.
it's also early warnings, right, against these raids on the flanks because he's playing out there. Like, it's interesting when you look at those deer stacks outside of the wall. Like, what's happening down there on the deer outside the wall is kind of the equivalent of, like, when you're at the zoo watching some of the animals and then you're, like, you drop your burger inside the tiger den, right? Like, there is a risk with what he's doing being out forward of the tree line like that. But because he has that early warning with a sprinkled outpost, MarineLorD isn't going to go there now, right? Like, if you look at his army, 2/3 of it is ranged. He's not going to try to play through that.
Landsknecht now coming in as well. Farm transition is on his way for Louie. Doesn't look that great yet.
Oh, God.
He does have 3 nests of bees, but this economy right here, it's not defended yet for Louie at all. Like,
No.
it's going to get found out. He's going to have to retreat from there. And
Actually, put a keep, right?
oh, yeah.
Usually, he's like, no, no, not the villagers again. They're just there sharpening their spears and like, oh, another stone building. And God, the Landsknecht are now in. Well,
He's going to get rushed up next to it.
that's true, but I don't think this is going to stop them from just walking by.
Yeah, I mean, with that many... It's so crazy, right? It's 70 compared to 23 military units out on the field right now. Louie, behind all of that, he's massing mass nests of bees, and he hasn't shown them off at all yet. He's 4 nests of bees. He hasn't used them anywhere. So MarineLorD doesn't know about them. If it comes to, like, a big engagement without MarineLorD investing into any sprinklers beforehand, he could catch him off guard. Couple of villagers are going to go down. Palace Guards finally find some damage to textiles. Looks like it has come in at some point in time. These villagers feeling quite chunky there.
Yeah, no Akratoy this time. Use the crossbow to clear this up. Interesting detail here is like MarineLorD has. You can see how he now feels about the game, right? Like, he played most of this game without walls. Only now does he feel threatened. So you can tell that this game isn't over, right? Despite the military lead being what it is. MarineLorD realizes that the Chinese could have the farm transition complete. They can still spam Palace Guards. So what he needs is all these walls going up before he commits down the center of everything.
Yeah. But now there's also Siege Workshop coming in, so these sprinkles might come in sooner rather than later. I think at this point in time, there's probably only one real win condition here for Louie. It's definitely not going to be in the mid-game. It's going to have to be in the late game once you get like the bonus range on your Chinese hand cannoneers unlocked. You get the siege advantage with your clock tower, you get some sprinkles out, and before that, I can't really see Louie winning any fights.
So that's interesting, because I think like that is true for if you have the military advantage. But I feel like if you're building hand cannoneers against Lombos, like, I'm pretty sure this matchup, every day of the week, you just go Foreign Engineering Company, right? And Lombos with volley destroys hand cannoneers. What?
Yeah, the texture is kind of crazy, but oh man, these...
You could just
these
leave the
palace
range.
Oh my god, they're also weak now. They're also weak, and a couple of crossbows are going to be enough here. Keep gets rushed up. Man, Louie, he's so defended on all the sides now with those keeps, and MarineLorD still doesn't have any siege in order to get rid of them.
It's like two choices. I can either build siege workshops and send them across the field, or I do have a ram, and then you look at the cost of it and say, nope, we're just going to build we'll build the roof siege.
Maybe not. Yeah, imagine like you want to get like 5 rams out, other civilizations. Yeah, sure, that's 1,000 wood, no worries. Byzantines, 1,500 resources, 500 of that being gold.
Not exactly a
Not
bargain.
bueno.
Also, for like, how much less health is that? I think it's like, is it 20% less health, I think?
Not just that, also less armor. Like a sprinkled emplacement takes it down.
I'm sorry, like, why do they, I'm still confused why they cost 100 gold more to this day.
It's fire, man, and the damage is
does
also
look
so
cool, man.
inconsistent. The damage is also so inconsistent. Like the damage on the ground barely even tickles. Damage of like directly standing inside the flamethrower, that's the one that exterminates units.
This is like when people realize that flamethrowers sound really powerful more, but if you look them up, you realize the real ones. You hold them for like 5 seconds and the canister's empty, right? Kind of feels like that with Kyrosife's like, wow, this looks really powerful. Oh, but instead of it burning out straight away, it just doesn't do anything. And it is going to be that Foreign Engineering Company. So this is now a really big problem for the Chinese. All their units are kind of countered now, right? Because you have volley to deal with those hand cannoneers you talked about, and you have Landsneck to deal with pretty much anything else the Chinese are going to build.
Yeah, like the really big issue here at the end of it all is the transition is where MarineLorD reaches Imperial Age with 100 units out on the field. Louie reaches Imperial Age with 20 units out on the field. Granted, he's getting another 20 population worth of Nest of Bees out there. It feels rough. I mean, so it's kind of crazy that MarineLorD hasn't actually managed so far to like get any decisive wins in or like fights in with this very large army. And that's mainly credited due to Louie's placement of keep so far on the map and the outposts that he plays, because MarineLorD just wasn't as free to be able to like go out on the map and just walk over because of those outposts there.
And it's important to remind people like MarineLorD is that type of player. He's like, okay, yeah, you know what? If I get a small advantage in the other game, I can turn it into a win in the late game. You can almost just picture him if he had a moustache twirling it as he said this, right? But
look at the olive oil that MarineLorD has in the bank.
Yep, we're ready for Nest of Bees on Nest of Bees, right?
Yeah, I mean that's enough for 5 Nest of Bees. Granted, they're not going to be clock tower though.
Probably just gonna be raw cannons for being totally real, right? Like, it would be hilarious if you just tried to outmass him now. So Imperial Pass on the way, Battle Hardened coming in. There is a small issue here for MarineLorD. Wolves, he seems to be allergic to the idea of them. He has 800 stone in reserve. Like, stone walls would actually make this very easy. Yeah. I mean, leaving crossbows here as well, like, it's not clean, right? Battle Hardened plus the army tactics makes it very efficient at actually just... Oh, there we go! Boom! We've got the answer to the castle's Crackedy.
Huh. Yeah. No. But this could actually be a really, really big difficulty now for MarineLorD, because, like, against China, I typically say, okay, you really, really want to be stonewalled by, like, late Castle Age against them, because now we're in that position where Louis is close to getting 3,000 food per minute. He's getting, like, the fastest infantry unit in the game with UN Dynasty Palace Guards. And there aren't any stone walls blocking his units out. And the Nest of Bees! Goodbye, Landsknecht!
Dude, this is like, you've got your clear target in mind, right? Nest of Bees, we kill them, we win. And then it's just like this Palace Guards there. It's like, your mama. It's like, don't finish that joke, right? Like, I can't believe he literally had free reign to run into the Nest of Bees. He ends up just getting aggroed onto the Palace Guard. Oh, no. Wait, this is backstabbing the main army as well.
I think MarineLorD gave a little bit too much time over to Louis, because
the villagers,
now in the late game,
the villagers not cold. They're gonna get hit up.
Ooh.
Nice Nest of Bees.
Goodbye, Nest of Bees. Yeah, this This is going to be rough now. I mean, MarineLorD, he still has a very large army out on the field, but these Lumbermen, they're not going to be able to really achieve a lot now against the mainest of the army. And sure, the Palace Guards don't have as much army as other units at this point in time in the Imperial Age, but they do get an additional plus 30 health with the unique upgrade, to the point where not only are they incredibly quick, but they're also very tanky.
I mean, the Nestbees aren't even fighting back right now. I found the one way that MarineLorD can beat them. They just have to be AFK. The moment they turn around, I just don't see anything approaching this. Even the Sprue will suck, right? Because the extra health, it takes so long to kill him. And that's going to be it. GG! We are going to get a game free. MarineLorD made that critical error of challenging Louie to a late game.
Yeah, and I mean, this just goes down to MarineLorD realizing, like, I can understand that a lot in chat right now are like, wait, why did he give up? Isn't that a little bit too early? It was checkmate. At that point in time, it was just, I know this matchup. I can't, like, I give you my perspective on it. This was checkmate the second that Louie reached Imperial Age, MarineLorD reached Imperial Age. All the upgrades came in, Yuan Dynasty was achieved, and there weren't any Stonewalls on MarineLorD's side because he just does not have the mobility in order to be able to defend his side from that point on. The Nest of Bees, they also decimated the army from MarineLorD on multiple stages. Gold access was very, very sparse for him. A lot of map control has been gained by Louie just by having outposts everywhere on the map. MarineLorD just acknowledged that and was like, okay, yeah, this is checkmate. There is no way for him to win it in a late game situation.
Yeah, I feel like that game was over the moment that we saw Imp breached and Stonewalls weren't going up. Like, it almost feels like, you know, is that too nitpicky? No, you highlighted it. Like, when you're against Palace Guard, that is do or die. And it's crazy because you're playing a Civ that has basically built so much extra stone because they're building anything in the game, right? Like, you can actually afford those walls. But I think this is the kind of awkward phase where his own strategies get used against him. Like we mentioned this idea, like small percentage advantage leads to big advantage later on, right? Like what MarineLorD is doing when he says that is he's playing on the idea that anything compounds and snowballs. Similar to the idea if you kill a villager at 4 minutes, it's more impactful than when you kill a villager at 20 minutes. But I think that's the biggest mistake you can make. Louie is incredibly fierce in the late game. Like it's one of his strongest areas. And I'm really hoping that MarineLorD doesn't let him get there in this because the final match of the series is going to be Frisian Marshes, Mongols versus Jeanne d'Arc. Louie, stand by what I said before, possibly the best Jeanne d'Arc player we have right now. If he gets to the late game, especially in a matchup like this, everything will start to fall apart for the Mongols.
That's true. But I think MarineLorD, especially when it comes to like macro, he knows his win conditions like no other when it comes to like, okay, this is like just the game sense itself. I think MarineLorD probably has like by far the best game sense out of like all the top 5 players right now. I would say MarineLorD's game sense is probably like a 10 out of 10 on the scale. He knows his win conditions. He knows his opponent's win conditions. And I think that is probably one of the most important things to have in this matchup here. Maybe even more important than macro downright, like knowing your win condition here. I think, and playing around that is probably the most important thing in this matchup.
It's all about tempo. Whenever you play the Mongols, you can't afford to be on the defensive, but this is the type of Civ that can stick you there quite often. Let's see who's going to be sticking who in the corner as we hop into the deciding game. MarineLorD versus LoueMT to decide this. An important series, remember. MarineLorD, this will be an ironclad lock, more or less a statement, right? It doesn't feel like he can actually be pushed off that top spot, but this would him be saying, I can't be beaten at all. For Louie, this is his chance to still try and re-secure that second place finish in the groups, but nothing less than a win here will do.
Yeah, MarineLorD with the Mongols here up against Jeanne d'Arc. Now, this is a little bit of a meme strategy, of course. Like Jeanne has the opportunity of going also trade when Mongols go for trade with the Silver Tree. They do get that Chamber of Commerce. Usually we don't really see that though, for good reason. Just one of it is you immediately have a barracks out, not a barracks, a stable out, where you can make units from. And also the Mongols, they do have that thing where they do kind of go for like Dark Age Tower Rushes early on. And from that position out, like going up to Feudal Age, and then you don't even have a single production building out, can feel a little bit discouraging in that situation.
And I'm looking at the gold spawns. It's one of those things where the outpost rush could end the game type feelings, right? Like you got double gold on one location. this happens, like, I want to say 80-85% of the time, so it's not really RNG gambler. The bigger RNG gambler is kind of when you're up against Mongols, praying that you get a gold retracted behind your TC. This is just not going to be one of those games, though, so we'll have to consider either going into an outpost or going in maybe some spearmen, or just accepting you're not going to have knights early on. But that's dangerous on this map, right? Due to the fact that the Mongols will trade.
Mm. Mongols, I mean, Frisian Marsh is one of those maps where there are a lot of sheep to be gathered, and MarineLorD looks like he got the majority of the sheep overall. There were a lot of sheep Actually, never mind. There's okay, but Louie, he's about to find 4 additional sheep there right in front of his base. So should be relatively even when it comes to the sheep that both players have found. And now we see MarineLorD sends a villager, a couple of spearmen out and about, and that is gonna be that early tower rush. We look at the amount of like space that MarineLorD has scouted so far, and he doesn't actually know where the gold is. He's gonna be delighted to find the gold from his opponent literally right in front of his base.
Oh yes, and the interesting part is actually like this opening on the scout sheep haul is actually 50-50. Usually you'd favor Mongols, right? But the interesting thing that Jean d'Arc and French get is they see the neutral trade buffs. So like sheep haul should be more or less comparative. And that's why MarineLorD didn't try to dart across. He didn't try to secure the sheep near the base early on. He didn't try to reveal exactly where the gold was going to be, because he understood that Jean is not going to contest him at this phase. School of Cavalry is on the way, has got enough gold for that. But we can see Louie basically hasn't got enough gold for anything else.
Has enough gold potentially for hard spearmen, and I think it's gonna have to be like a mass kind of play, mass infantry kind of play early on, in order to be able to get past that outpost if he wants gold, because gold is just so important for Jean. You can't go for the other play that Louis done before, just massing units, going over to the side of his opponent immediately, and just applying pressure over there. Then once you've done that, you go back and you destroy the outpost with a big ball of units.
One thing that I do quite like about Jean compared to French is if your comp has to be spear plus, say, horseman, you're more efficient than French, right? Like, the consecration is most valuable for horsemen more so than any other unit in the game at this stage, right? Because, like, with knights, a lot of it's still gold. With the horsemen, almost all the cost is in food.
Yeah, you're getting effectively, I think it's like on average like 30 resources per minute that you're saving up there when you're like producing 24/7 out of your production buildings, maybe more like 30 to 50, and that can start piling up quite a lot the more buildings you consecrate.
I think it's like, is it not 75, right? Because you save 25 food per, and horsemen out of School of Cavalry, I think it's 19 seconds, I want to say.
I'm comparing it to like a TC
Oh,
producing.
yeah, you mean the difference. Yeah, got you. Because like the logical play is you should consecrate a TC if you're always going to keep, like if you're not going to keep pumping one unit type. If you see someone consecrate, like this is the very interesting thing for people to learn at the highest level of play. If Louis was to consecrate the School of Cavalry, it tells MarineLorD that the cavalry is always, at least in his eyes in the opening, meant to be a core component of his build. But then you get big brain cracking. Can you imagine if you just consecrated like an archery range and then didn't use it? Oh, come on.
It makes sense once you get to the point with the arbalestry, but yeah, early on consecration archery ranges. Whenever I see that, I just cringe a little bit. I'm like, no.
Could you imagine though, like, just imagine how embarrassed you'd feel if you got into a game and someone like consecrates stable School of Cavalry, and then you prep for it and they just spam archers? You got a face palm, right? The big brain plays.
I would feel that. All right, we do have melee Jean coming out. Makes a lot of sense here. I don't think ranged Jean is really ever an option against an opponent that does get like heavy cavalry in feudal age.
Well, either one kind of feels sucky against that, right? But like, there's no extra upside. Like, typically you want to go ranged Jean when you're up against civs that turtle, right? So like, we see it a lot against Chinese, HRE, those sort of things. If the Mongol player is turtling, he's kind of already lost the game.
Right, the units are just streaming across the map right now. For Louis, MarineLorD is prepping his archery range, does have enough stone. Uwu is very, very safe under the TC, so we'll be seeing a couple of batches of double-produced archers coming out.
The gold isn't even being contested right now. Like, he's not even trying to poke
already.
it. Yeah, so it's like, it's quite problematic. So you know you're going to be up against the Keshiks, which is bad for Louis, because he doesn't actually have a solution. He's built a grand total of a 1 spearman so far.
That spearman, though, has dreams and aspirations, so don't discredit him there. Granted, there isn't a stable yet for MarineLorD, as far as I can tell, yeah, so Keshiks aren't going to be coming in anytime soon.
Probably blacksmiths though, right? Like, I mean, you want to get traders, but also blacksmiths here when you're turtling like this with archer spam on both sides. You know your opponent doesn't have the ability to get any. It's gonna be a wheelbarrow to start off with though.
Yeah. Right, the placement has come in on that outpost on the gold, so MarineLorD shouldn't lose any villagers over there. We can tell just how quickly that archer mass is building up for MarineLorD with a single archery range in the space, already up to 4 archers, about to be 6 with another batch of 2.
Can we check MarineLorD's vision? Because I'm curious if he even scouted the trade post yet. Yeah, he does. Like, yeah, so he can chain it straight away. He doesn't have to focus on like walking his way out. This is
Oh, the
still a
spearmen,
problem,
are they? The spearmen are going back.
Really? Oh, well, he's got arrow slits, right? But the question now is like, Louie, you don't really have enough to torch this down yet, right? You have to add in probably 3 or 4 more horsemen before you confidently take out the outpost. Otherwise, it's going to be kind
you
of
don't want
expensive.
to. The thing is, like at this point in time, like the outpost is going to go down, no doubt about it. And I think you just want to run the spearmen away at this point in time, actually. Yeah, there we go. Spearmen just getting run away because every single spearman there would be a lot of experience going over to Jean. We actually see Louie out on the map, in the middle of the map, once again gathering gold up in the middle of the map with 3 villagers.
That was a long-ass walk for a guy who doesn't have wheelbarrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's suboptimal, but
like-
it's these kind of sneaky plays against Mongols that can sometimes like give you a leg up in a matchup where your opponent thinks, oh yeah, you got no gold, and then suddenly, I got gold.
Still wondering how wheelbarrow works for making you run faster when you don't have resources. They just like find hills, wheel down them maybe. The questions are very MarineLorD
It's not realistic, man.
My emotions is ruined, man. Like, do they take it in turns to hop in a wheelbarrow and then one pushes him maybe? I don't know. Is it a team effort? We'll never know. The interesting
breaking
part.
after a charge. It's so unrealistic, man. I can't play this game.
Deep breaths, deep breaths. When I watch Vortex at point blank pull camel lances out again, like how does he even hit them, dude? Like you're just swinging them around, you're missing.
How are
So
they
many
hiding
things.
them?
Oh, I'll tell you what's not hidden right now. Traders.
Oh,
Gonna be sniffed out here.
yeah, movement speed arrow comes in as well. These units suddenly being very, very quick. That trader also is not going down because, you know, horsemen, they're great. Absolutely great. If these were Ghazi raiders, that horseman would have, that trader would have gone down.
There you
I'm
go.
telling you.
Yeah, yeah. So I was about to get into that. You say that horsemen are great. I need to confirm that and then cross-relate it with your previous statements on horsemen.
I'm very consistent there. Don't you worry about that.
You know what? No. Because I think Jean can convince you, right? You hate horsemen because they cost 120 resources. Oh! How much does Jean pay?
Less than 100, so suddenly it's worth it again.
Nice. It's like at that point, you're paying for a spearman, but he has a horse as well, right? Like when you buy that at the market, you're like, there's got to be something wrong with the horse, but it's still too much of a bargain.
I'm selling you primo spearman with horse.
Turns out that you viewed the horse from the wrong angle. It only has 3 legs. Still a bargain. So traders at least protect for the time being. MarineLorD, the nice thing is the longer this scales like this, Louie isn't really scaling an army that can keep raiding when this Mongol force fleshes out. And, well, the trade is actually booming to a point that's kind of getting scary, right? Like I think we've got, I want to say almost 10 traders, probably at like 8 at this stage. Might even be, no, that's more than 8. I think that's actually 10, 11. So I just keep saying high numbers, 12, 13. Everyone right now is impressed that I can count beyond 10.
It's getting kind of difficult for MarineLorD to keep up with the military from Louie, I feel like, because right now he's also like only on infantry, doesn't have the deer stones. Mobility-wise, he has all of his infantry right now in the back of the map, just protecting the trade. That could make it very susceptible for one, reinforcements being cut off, but also like a big fight. He is not going to be in a position to choose which fights he wants to take. If Louie comes over with his military, the fight is going to happen one way or another.
But what's wild about this is if actually Louie, like it's almost like he's overthinking it, right? If he just sends 1 or 2 knights into the main base, it's a jackpot right now. Because MarineLorD is posturing everything towards the northern end of this map.
Is that going to be coming over? Yeah, I think there's going to be a big fight, and John is going to have to love this once the fight happens. Where's John?
I didn't realize there's like, where's Waldo, the Age of Empires edition? Do you see Jean? Because he's got a lot of different groups going on right now. So he's going to cut center. This is really expensive. You start hemorrhaging these traders, right? This is usually why like Jean is very good against Mongols, is because that trade spreads you out and it's just free XP. You always give something over.
Yeah, but it looks like there's a big fight about to happen. Horsemen there as well, so it's going to be a big fight and at the same time split onto the economy. Jean has to be careful though. If she gets sniped out by those archers, which it looks like that's going to be the play here for MarineLorD.
She's going to take down the archers as
Experience
well
is
he
going to
can.
get denied.
Yeah, that angle for the Horseman was rough, right? Because you saw the spin when leading behind from MarineLorD, so you could never get this kind of sandwich maneuver for Louie. Instead, just have to walk away. Happy with 1 or 2 trader kills, but that's still no XP for Jean.
Yeah, very little experience gain. Granted, every single time a spearman goes down, that's like 16 seconds shaved off of level 3, compared to just passively gaining level 3.
We're still looking at, I want to say, like a 16.5-minute timer at this stage, though. So, like, you need to keep this up for a little bit longer. The problem is the trade is still escalating. We're now seeing a 13 eco lead from MarineLorD. And because he's past that 10 trader threshold, it's adding a lot of additional resources into the value of this player.
All military being gathered up right now. We're also starting to see some Kashyyyks coming in for MarineLorD. Meanwhile, Louie, he's on that single spearman from earlier.
Okay, that guy, like, he sees Jean d'Arc. He's like, I'm going to be Guan Yu one day, right? He's trying to be his own hero unit. Nice, though. That's what we wanted. Okay, so this is the thing that I was waiting for Louie to do. Like, you just spread wide right now. You highlighted early. MarineLorD doesn't have an army that can do that. He basically has to see where Jean is and then overreact to what she's doing, right? Because otherwise, as you highlight, that level 3 timer is just getting closer and closer.
Yeah, and it might be coming in very, very soon here now. We're 13 minutes into the game. More villagers did just go down for MarineLorD. 5 villager kills so far now. The trade still means that MarineLorD is ahead roughly 10 economic units at this point in time. He's done a great job of protecting them so far, all around.
Outpost also going
The
up
horsemen
now.
didn't achieve a lot.
Have they ever?
As expected.
Do you need to run? like the horsemen just hear you and you just hear very, very upset horsemen walking home. Consecrations.
Right, my best.
Has there been, like, there must be additional stables, right? Like, there's no way you're still playing one. Okay, yeah, so we have got consecration. I always love that you can consecrate a half-constructed building. What happens when you cancel it? You just lose it.
Lose. Yeah, you just lose it.
Oh, man, those would be expensive cancels. But this is going to be mass cav now. Food is being accessed to the flanks. Like, I think MarineLorD, probably the goal here is to try and get the Kashyyyks elsewhere, but dude, if you age up here, you die.
Yeah, it was downright. You cannot age up in this situation. The question is going to be, is MarineLorD going to realize that he is reinvesting into Kashyyyks now? More units are going to be coming out.
He did not expect this many knights to be followed up with. Oof. And what worries me is, like, MarineLorD, you know, you said that he's like eco-herd, sure, but like then you have to remember he has an issue on his food income, right? Like, compared to what Louie should be able to achieve in terms of villager efficiency, because it's shoreline fish versus sheep. Really big difference there.
Knights now starting to get a fight in. MarineLorD, he's loading so many resources right now. Kurultai is coming in, but the fight happens before the Kurultai finishes. And Jean
There's so many archers
being
though.
held back.
Yeah, she cannot go in. If she goes in, she's going to insta-target down. Like, look at that, a third of her HP.
Yeah, you cannot lose her. You definitely cannot lose her right now. No, Jean, go back.
Louie?
She's done it out. She's down.
Jean is
Wait, she's alive.
about to go dark. 3 HP. Okay, dude, he's got to be close. There it is. That's why he's waiting. Level 3 is in. But MarineLorD, I think he should have what he needs to hold here. Kurultai's going to complete. If he retreats towards it, it might cost him a few traders, but this army will then become unbreachable.
Jean just needs to recover a little bit. At level 3, she also heals a lot while out of combat. So that right now is just most important for her, to just stay out of combat for as long as possible. She can still passively get resources and still buff up those men-at-arms at the front line. Jean, though, she's diving a little bit too early. She's going to lose her life to a spearman.
The Kurultai's not here.
It is not.
I mean, the Kurultai only matters if you've got an army to buff with. Attack speed arrows can be activated prematurely here. Doesn't have that buff in range. MarineLorD trading out the archers now, but a few knights remaining. And also it's blocking the Kurultai from even engaging here. So Louie will be able to get an edge in this fight, but now he has to solve for the age difference.
Does he, though? He's been making knights non-stop behind this. This isn't really his entire army right now that we're seeing here. And behind that, MarineLorD, what's the unit that he's making? It's men-at-arms. What
just happened to his food income as well? MarineLorD, I think that was the tech up, right? But like, How many patches has he got? I don't think he's actually got enough to keep himself afloat here.
He does
oh
not.
my.
He's completely idle. He's on the berries now. Crucial moment here for him.
And if a knight finds that, if just one knight goes there, like MarineLorD right now, he actually doesn't have troops to address that.
Jean didn't get bought back. Louie has the resource. Looks like instead he wants to go. Yeah, he instead wants to go for a castle age now. But he could finish it in feudal.
It's one of those things like you're not quite sure, right? Like he hasn't got a scout to check the main base, so he probably doesn't know that there's no food income safe there, and his opponent's playing that wide. It's one of those things where Lou's going to watch it back, and you know you're going to facepalm at that moment. It's like, oh god damn it, I could have had this here. But it also fits with Louie in that like Louie likes the late game, and he's you know one of those sickos that like they get 2 hours in a game, there's no resources left, and it's, like everyone's poor. He likes that. I've seen him go for that multiple times, so. It kind of makes sense here. I think like Mongol versus Jean, the later the game goes, the better it feels for Jean. And with the Royal Institute, it means you are going to be getting that Imperial Age light in Castle.
Oh, it is going to be the all-in though. We are seeing that Royal Institute coming in for Louie. Just has about enough gold as well, or is going to have enough gold to immediately grab that Royal Bloodlines.
That's what I like. So that's why I thought he'd do like 13 Knights, is like just raid the flanks. Because, you know, you don't want to fight Castle Age army, but I mean, the Castle Age army is not exactly quick. Yeah.
It's men-at-arms, archers, very little Keshiks. Now age up. No, never mind. That's a Khan returning. That's no age up.
A new age has arrived. The new Khan has risen. Just dies 2 seconds later. Okay, we'll wait for the new age again.
MarineLorD right now. I mean, he's still having a rough time when it comes to the transition, right? Wait, actually, he's on 1.7. Did he just buy food? He's on 1.7 food per minute just off berries.
Is it fishing? Can we check the fishing ponds? It might be fishing.
He has very little villagers on fish. I think he had like 6, 7 villagers over on fish. It's mostly really just
no, fishing's just that OP, okay? Like, if that's on the berries, that's going to be gone in like 30 more seconds.
Yeah. But no, I think he just bought some food or something like that. Like that's some crazy numbers there. 1,800 food per minute.
You're going to need it.
And he also grabbed Yamora. He also grabbed the Yamora upgrade, so he's getting additional movement speed now on his units. Veterancy has come in. Royal Bloodlines is still not in queue yet. Needs to come in queue better sooner around later. It takes a long time to get that upgrade in. There it is. Now it's going to be in queue. Now Louie has to wait until it comes in, though. He can take like small battles, but yeah,
you don't want the main engagement. But once again, you can spread your opponent wide, right? And also, the other tough issue with this, MarineLorD, his Kurotai can't be there, right? Depending on where you choose the fights, which you have the option to, Kurotai can always end up late. By the way, do we have the pack-up tech? I think I saw MarineLorD going for it. I hope he did. Like, I don't think he played Kurotai about it.
God, we gotta check the Uber for MarineLorD. Where even is the Uber? I think he rebuilt next to the fishing. Yeah, there it is.
Okay,
he has it. He has it. Yeah.
That's really important. Like I've watched people try to play Kurotai without that backup tech, and I don't know, man. I feel like I need to whip out a bottle of whiskey for them. No.
Yeah. Oh, at the same time, Archers on the other hand side. Great split off there with the army. Gets a couple of the traders. Now MarineLorD still 31 economic units ahead.
You could
it's just Archers.
Turn on that. Yeah, I think he's showing a lot of respect here because he doesn't see what we see, right? We have the God vision. These Archers are paying a price for it, though.
Yeah. But the Knights, as soon as Royal Bloodlines comes in, they should just like funnel down that lane with the traders.
Instead, he's moving away. Dude, Louie, wow. Okay, so he's actually backing away full. Even the Knights on the north side have peeled away a little bit here. It's like they are getting ready for a recharge. But this is an expensive loss.
Yeah, Royal Bloodlines is coming in now, though. And now this is the point in time where Louie needs to take fights. He has the Knights, he has the army value lead for now. And this army value lead is even crazier, even though we see that he's like slightly ahead. Okay, now slightly behind, now slightly ahead in the resource department.
Are we doing this? Okay, now he's slightly behind. But we are getting into the golden goose here. Arbitrary are being queued up.
These are like Castle Age level plus Knights right now that are making their way.
And it's not just the Knights, right? Eventually it can be crossbow, stirrups, gambesons, arbitrary. So like, this is what I mean by it's Imperial Light.
Where's the Kurotai? The Kurotai isn't here. The fight is happening. No Kurotai is there.
Spread the lines. Nice. These are so stupidly tanky as well. Not as many crossbows as you like. And also Jean! Sick play Louie. He baits all Archer fire on top of the most tanky unit. Divine Restoration Pump comes in. And that right there looks like there's desperation. Wololo, Archer's going to snipe it out. So many knights left over. No Keshi's going to test them. And MarineLorD has no choice but to defend here. Otherwise, he loses all the trade. That's it.
It's GG.
Louie gets the win that is critical here to keep his dream alive of making it through into the round of 6.
Oh man, Louie with the 2-1 against MarineLorD. Granted, the 2 victories here so far, it feels like sometimes, like you could argue MarineLorD called a little bit early, but that's just the game sense. He knows when it's over. You lose. It's similar like when you lose a battle against Ottomans. The Ottoman like army production is just superior, and Jean provides so much value on the battlefield. Once it's like attrition wars, both players have like little military remaining. As long as Jean is still on the field, Jean is just gonna win.
It's actually kind of wild to think about. Like the way that plays out as well. Like I agree, the whole idea looks a bit early. You have to remember that Mongols don't like to defend. The only reason why MarineLorD doesn't look like dead defending is if you can get that main engagement with the Kurultai buff, right? It's a powerful tool. But gotta give so much credit to Louie. You know, it looked like he was being over defensive. I think he could have maybe raided continuously with the Knights for the tech up, but he didn't want to risk the advantage he built off the previous fight. So very methodical approach to that late phase of the game. Understood that this Imperial Light is just such a game breaker, especially against long distance trading like that. And I think like the other thing you have to remember, MarineLorD, although it looks a little bit premature, you lose a fight like that with all those Keshiks dying. How close is level 4 realistically, right? Like it's creeping up on you. It just feels like you're in a death spiral at that stage. But we won't beat this one to death. It's done. Louie keeps the dream alive of trying to make that top 2 finish for the group stage. I think Puppy Paw still has the other series. We mentioned, I think it was, I'm trying to remember who his other opponent was. I think it was like one of the easier ones. Like it wasn't one of your top 3. So it might be a case
as far as I know, like all the games from Group A are completely done now.
Okay, so let me refresh this. So, okay, so it looks like Louie, I think he's locked to be in a 3rd place situation with that. Vortex, I don't know if he can upset. I'm going to have to like, you know,
there it is. Yeah. Louie is going to be 3rd place from the looks of it.
Yeah, he's safe. Vortex, like even a win, right? Like it can't fix that. I mean, we can't. He's going even have a series, so it's going to be MarineLorD, Puppy Paw, Louie, Vortex, and then unfortunately Benny Boy, obviously not able to make that climb back in, courtesy of Vortex winning this series. So that's all locked in.